That's all they needed.
Yeah.
Was the words Disney and trading card game. I was like, I'm in. I'm all in.
I don't think I can take a game seriously if I said that I'm playing a Timon and Pumbaa deck.
It's had 30 years of having to come up 4 times a year with a new keyword or a new card type or something, you know.
The physical card game I probably played probably 5-10 times, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. They have said that the first 3 sets weren't completely built in isolation, as in like the first 3 were the launch sets almost.
We got into this conversation and we just kind of went off, and it felt like we've been talking for 20 minutes. Yeah, how's it going, everyone? My name is Earlmeister, and this is the Loremeisters podcast. In today's episode, we have a YouTuber and an ultra megatonic Disney fan, Jonti, the man behind the Inkwell. Jonti has been a Disney and a roller coaster fan since he was a kid. As soon as he was tall enough, he was at it with roller coasters and has been in over 200 of them. Nowadays, he does the same, but he does it with his son. He wasn't really into trading card games growing up, but he did use cards a lot as a magician, in which he professionally did for over 10 years. He got into YouTube doing video game plays during a bout of illness and transitioned that into his job. That channel covered building creatively in simulation games, like building roller coasters and zoos. 5 years ago, he moved to Canada and has been living there ever since. He got a job at a TCG store, and the rest is history. He is a Renaissance kid who loves Aladdin, Hercules, and Beauty and the Beast. He also have a soft spot for The Rescuers and had it on VHS, where he watched it so many times he wore out the tape. How's it going, everyone? We're finally here with Jonti. How are you doing today? How's it going?
Very well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
All right. I'm super grateful. First of all, very thankful that you accepted the invite, and I think we're gonna have some fun conversation today.
I hope so, yeah.
About Lorcana. All right. So first of all, I want to talk about last weekend. The reveals on that event that you did in Discord with Rochelle, with Shane, and Rebecca, right?
Rebecca from the Lorcana Luminary. Yeah, that was that was kind of insane. So Rochelle sort of like literally just DM'd me a couple of hours before it. I was like, "Hey, are you free?" I'm like, "I can be free." Like, should I be free for this?
Yeah, I mean,
and she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna get you on and show some cards," and it was fantastic. There was something like over 500 people watching live, and I had no idea what the cards were. I was seeing them as you guys were seeing them, right? That like she was there. She was just we were just there. Kind of like as a conduit of the audience, like we were there getting live reactions and seeing what we thought of the stuff. And yeah, it was awesome. I wasn't expecting anywhere near that many. I thought we'd go on and look at 3 cards and then say thanks and off we go again. I think we got like 14 reveals or something on that thing. It was crazy. They just kept coming and just kept coming.
I was so excited. I honestly am in the same boat as you. When I went in there, I'm expecting like, okay, we're gonna see like 3-5 cards if we're lucky. And I was so excited, to be honest with you, for something that was just planned an hour or literally last minute plans. I thought the show was great. I enjoyed it. You guys were great.
Really, I mean, I'm sure Ravensburger knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure they had it all planned out, but they probably like, I'm sure if I said I wasn't available, they go to the next person and just keep going. Somebody's going to be free to come and jump on, right? Yeah. But I'm sure they had a good plan of what was happening, but yeah, I wasn't expecting much at all. I was expecting a handful of, vanillas, or maybe even, because unfortunately we did have some leaks for this set reveal, and most of those have been shown officially through the Discord, just to kind of, officially get them out there. So I kind of expected it was going to be a lot of that sort of stuff as well, but no, it was all brand new stuff, brand new characters we've not seen. Yeah, Floodborns, super rares. It was kind of crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and thank you very much for doing that.
That was good.
I was gonna say this. They've seen the intro. Our viewers have seen the intro. Hopefully, they didn't skip it. If you skipped it, go back and watch it right now. So you get to know.
It's okay. Go and watch it. We'll wait.
Yeah. So you get to know Jonti properly before going into this conversation. So it was mentioned there that he is a big Disney fan, right? He enjoys Lorcana, and obviously there's this type of like competitive player, and there's this type of casual player. He's kind of like in the middle of things, but he is a ultra megatonic Disney fan, in my opinion, because I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you guys didn't watch the show on Discord, here's me. When I look at a card, I'm 60% looking at the words because I can get really competitive. 40% of me will look at the art later, and I would appreciate that a lot. But man, your skills, you and Rebecca, your skills with uncovering the art, the clues, and just predicting what's coming up next, that was crazy.
I will say there was a little group chat before we got started with Shal and Shane and me and Rebecca in, and I said, "Is there any chance we can get a bit of a heads up? Like, I don't want to see the cards or anything, but can we at least know the characters or the the shows or the films that they're from? Because like me and Rebecca, we both have a bit of a reputation to keep as big Disney fans."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Is there any chance we can have a bit of an idea?" And Rochelle went, "Nope." I was like, "Okay."
That's very impressive.
And to be honest with you, once so far, a Lorcana card has come up, and I haven't known who it is or what it's from once. And it was set 2. It was a vanilla card, and it's called the Knock, and it's a horse. And it's from Frozen 2, and I think I've maybe seen Frozen 2 once, and that was the first time a card's come up, and I've gone, I've got no idea who that character is. Everything else, it's come up, and I've been like, oh yeah, I can say this. It was from this movie. It was,
Yeah.
So I mean, like I say, I call myself a casual competitive player because I play competitively in as much as I try and win, right? Like obviously if somebody's new coming in or somebody a bit more casual, I can tone it down a bit, but I enjoy playing in tournaments because I enjoy the fact that I know that the opponents go in as hard as I am to get the win, right? Like I get off on that. I'm not the best player, but that's the mindset that I bring to the table.
Yeah.
But I am first and foremost a Disney fan and came to this game like through that. And like I said, like I said in the intro, it's part of my job to know about all of these card games. They're always coming through the door. There's 2 or 3 big releases every year. Just around the corner, there's Star Wars Unlimited, Altered TCG, Union Arena. All of these things that are on my radar from a professional point of view.
Yeah.
But I remember there was an article from ICV2, which is like an online industry magazine. So it's like news articles for game producers, game publishers, game sellers. And all the article said was Ravensburger, TCG, Disney. That's it. Like there was nothing, no card reveals, nothing. It said Disney trading card game, and I had a YouTube video out about it that day. That's all they need. That's all they needed. Was the words Disney and trading card game. I was like, I'm in. I'm all in. And then it turned out that it was actually pretty good. And I was like, oh, thank goodness, it actually plays pretty well.
Yeah.
And the first thing I always tell to people when they come in the store and they're asking about it, we've got starter decks on the shelves. We're getting people into it, and the first thing I say to people is, this game plays so much better than it needed to. Right?
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? It's got Disney written on the box. This thing's gonna sell all day long. Just as a collector piece, kids, kids trading the cards like Pokemon.
Yeah.
But it's actually a good game as well.
Yeah.
Like much better than it had to be. Yeah.
I'm super surprised because the first time this was brought up to me by a friend, he told me that, hey, because we both love card games. He was like, have you heard of this Disney card game that's coming out? And it's like, apparently it's really good. And I kind of like memed at it. I'm like, Disney? Like, really? Like, and then we started like making some jokes. Like, I don't think I can take a game seriously if I said that I'm playing a Timon and Pumbaa deck. Or Lilo and Stitch deck. It was so hard to like wrap my head around it. And then more videos came, I watched YouTube. I saw you guys making all these videos. And I'm like, holy crap. Like this actually looks very playable, and it's one of those games that are like, it looks easy to learn, but hard to master.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what I'm looking for in a game.
Yeah, 100%. You want to be able to teach somebody the basics of it in a play session, but then also it's got that sort of level of depth.
Yeah,
and I think I'm pretty sure Ryan Miller has said this. I don't think I'm putting words into his mouth, but he basically says that the core gameplay, the actual core gameplay loop is very simple. The complexity comes from the cards, right?
Yeah.
And that for me is quite a good TCG design in that here are the rules, but every single one of those rules has a little asterisk on it.
Yeah.
And it basically says, here is the rule, unless a card says different.
Yeah.
Right. And that I think is a really healthy way to build a game out, because you've got that real solid foundation.
Yep.
But then you can break it as a designer, right? And that's where the fun designs come from, and that's where the longevity comes from for years' time as well.
Yeah.
You can do one ink a turn. You can place one card that's inkable down, unless you've got a fishbone quill, unless you've got a bell, right? Like that's a really solid core way to build out a game. I think have that real solid rule set, and then let cards break it.
Yeah, yeah.
You just have to be careful they don't break it too much.
Yeah, I was thinking while we're talking about this, it's that, and I think a lot of people will agree with me, but the Magic community will disagree with me. Is that if Magic didn't came out 20, 30 years ago, and it came out today, I don't think it's going to be as famous as it is, because it's pretty complex, first of all, and a lot of players nowadays, they do like complexity, but they, like what I said, they like something easy to learn and then hard to master. And Magic is, it can be simple, but it's much harder to teach a casual player or a new player that type of mechanics.
I mean, yeah, you're right in as much as, like, if Magic came out today with the card pool it has, it would be unplayable. But you've got to think that it's had 30 years to slowly build those up, right? If you actually go back and look at Alpha Magic, it's a lot more of a simpler game. Yeah, like it's had 30 years of having to come up 4 times a year with a new keyword or a new card type or something, you know. So like, you've got to give it a little bit of slack there. The fact that it is still there and still going and doing quite well. Saying that, I've kind of been out the Magic loop for a while. That was my card game of choice before Lorcana, but since Lorcana's come around, I haven't really had the headspace or the money to keep up with another one as well, because these things are expensive. It is. Even with the staff discount. I will say this as well. Never think it's a good idea to get a job in a trading card game store because of like a staff discount. It just makes you buy more stuff. That's all it does. It doesn't help.
You still spend more money, but at least you get extra stuff.
You get a bit more for it. Yeah, exactly. So my Magic play has sort of settled down to the side. You know, I'm still playing a commander game here and there, but like I was relatively entrenched in standard rotation of Magic, which is the rotating newest format. But that's all sort of gone to the wayside now with Lorcana. But I will say that the new set of Magic that came out a week ago now at time of recording, I think, which is called Murders at Karloff Manor. Yeah, I was looking at some of the cards. You know, we opened some packs for the store, and I was reading some of the cards, and I couldn't tell you what half of them did, because there's like 4 or 5 new keywords in the set, and you know, this card is a suspect if you gather evidence 10. Yeah, I'm like, what does that mean? Like, it's amazing how, like, just I mean, when did Lorcana come out? August. So just the space of like 4 or 5 months, 6 months, I guess, away from a game that has those regular releases. It's amazing how out the loop you can get, you know. Like, it's these things are a commitment, man.
It's funny you said that, because about a month ago, because I heard that Marvel is coming into what do you call this?
To Magic next year, right?
And I'm like, that's exciting. Like, that's something that I would like to check out again, because I played. I probably have like a couple of years of Magic in me, but it's Magic the Gathering Arena that I played more than the physical card game. The physical card game I probably played probably 5-10 times, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I played more Magic the Gathering Arena, but I was intrigued by the idea. So about a month ago, I went back into it, and I had so much resources because at the time I was streaming a lot of card games. Because before Lorcana, I was streaming a lot of MMOs. I took a year and a half off from card games because I was getting burned out with CCGs. And that's because there's no physical part, and I think that's what's missing in card games for me was the physical part. And when I picked up Pokemon, I was really, having a blast with it. It's just that Lorcana sounds more fun when it got announced, so I moved to Lorcana right away. But I had the same feeling as you. I went back about a month ago. I was going to use all my resources to create a new deck, and I sat there for probably an hour. I gave it a try. And I just kept reading and reading and reading. And there's so much to read. There's so much, because with Lorcana, it's much simpler, right? It's like Hearthstone and Magic had a baby. And
I think it's, obviously, who knows what Lorcana is going to look like in 5 or 10 years. I mean, first of all, I hope it's still there, Sure, Disney's a huge IP. The game is doing great. It's had it had a rocky start, honestly, regarding sort of product availability. But they seem to have got their feet under themselves, and that seems to have leveled out. So, and outside of product availability, I think it's had a really solid start. But who knows what it looks like in 10 years? If it's still around, who knows how complicated those cards are going to be, right?
That's true.
But at the minute, there's something really great about hitting the ground running with a new TCG and being there from the start and having all of those shortcuts in your brain so that when they do start bringing out new stuff, you can always look at it. Even now with set 2 and set 3 releases, you can say, oh, that's what was the one the other day that got shown? The Grandma Tala. There's a new Grandma Tala in set 3, and it's develop your brain on a body. No, it's a Grandma Tala. Okay. She's like a full costed, but basically she comes out, you look at the top 2, put one in your hands, one on the bottom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's develop your brain, but it happens on her enter play.
Yeah.
But it's so great that already you can just see that Grandma Tala and go, oh, okay, cool. Develop your brain on a body. Even now we're already making those little shortcuts, Yeah. And I think that's a really, really solid, just a solid base for a game that's going to do well in the future, I feel.
Yeah, and the way they introduced it as well, how they did set 1, set 2, set 3, slowly but surely introducing mechanics. And I'm sure it's not done yet. I'm pretty sure there's going to be, we're in terms of mechanics, we're probably only going into set 3 with locations. We're probably only maybe 50-60% into the mechanics. I feel like there's way more keywords coming out. I already can see some clues, right? For example, Blue or Sapphire does a lot of let me ban, instead of banishing that goes into your Inkwell exerted. And why are you making me exert an ink when I obviously can't use the ink on it's your turn
anyway.
Yeah. So there's probably some cards like that.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of those cards that make a card go to the Inkwell exerted, they can apply to your cards as well, I suppose. Not that you very often would.
Yeah.
But you can let it go your own thing if you want.
That's true.
At the minute there's no real reason to, but you can. So maybe it is just you've got a little shifted body on the board that's not doing very well. You could sing Let It Go and it gives you 2 ink.
But it opens up a possible new mechanic in the future where on my turn I can start answering what you're doing, or if I have a card in play, I can start answering what you're doing, because they literally have introduced that already on set 3. Is it Sheriff of Nottingham? If I discard a card, it doesn't say that it's on my turn. So if I'm playing against Prince John and discard deck, they discard me. Now they gotta think twice. Should I discard cards from my opponent's hand? Because now they can ping me on their
exactly
while they're not on their turn.
You've got that thing on your board. Nobody's gonna want a whole new world, you.
Yeah.
Because instantly that goes from a ping to maybe doing 5, 6, 7 damage around the board, right? So
Exactly.
it's really nice to see. They have said that the first 3 sets weren't completely built in isolation, as in like the first 3 were the launch sets almost.
Yeah.
But you can really see that they were sort of built to flesh each other out, So
Yeah.
Set 1, you're always going to get the absolute core, draw cards, killer thing, board wipe, all of these absolute staples that you need in a card game.
Yeah.
Set 2 sort of branched out on that, and I think set 3 really kind of fills out that initial sort of foundation. And I think that's good. I think it's good, and I think it's bad in some ways as well, because I've heard some people say about locations, oh, it's too early to be bringing in a new mechanic, a new card type even.
Yeah.
But a few times the developers have said, oh, we always planned for locations from the get-go.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to front load the game too much.
Yeah.
So I think there's a good reason for that, to build it up slowly, but also there's an argument to be said that it just looks like they're bringing in new stuff already.
Yeah.
And I think the big prevalence of Ruby Amethyst in the meta is probably because a lot of the answers for it are in set 3.
Yeah.
I still think it's going to be strong, but looking at things like that Ursula that lets you discard a song from their hand, the bare necessities that lets you discard a non-character from their hand.
I love those 2 cards.
Oh man, they're so good. But these are, and the reason we love them, the reason we're like, oh yes, is because they are direct answers to some of the strongest plays in the game. They're the rock to the scissors of be prepared and grab your swords.
Yeah.
I feel like you're actually going to start seeing an actual rock paper scissors meta by set 3.
Yeah.
Where sort of aggro, control, and mid range actually starts to fight around each other. Hopefully.
Yeah. Honestly, I can already somewhat see that on set 3. It's just there's not many aggro players because of how strong Steel Song is going against aggro. But with those 2 cards that we just said, that will put aggro into a whole new spot in the game, in my opinion, because now I have a bunch of 1 and 1/2s, and they can't wipe my board with grab your sword anymore.
Grab your swords, yeah.
But
I think not only being able to get rid of it out of your hand with those cards, I think we're seeing a lot more aggro payoffs as well. I don't necessarily know how strong they're going to be, but obviously that it's just nice to see them be designed in. Like a lot of the Dalmatian stuff, things like that Chernobog, just kind of just seeing those sort of not just I've got loads of things down and I quest.
Yep.
It's just those end pieces to that just get you there a little quicker.
Yeah.
And, maybe without those cards that get rid of songs, you're going to see more consistent turn 6 wins before they even get the be prepared down, right? Just because of those ones that are just letting you extra lore on your questing and stuff like that. I also think discard really comes into play set 3. I think it's kind of there in set 2, like it's like a mid tier, tier 2, tier 1 deck maybe, but I think discard.
It's going to be super strong.
Or I think it gets much stronger and much more fleshed out.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think set 3 is. I'm not saying they should have just released 600 cards on set 1 and we'd already be here. Obviously they have to sort of like break it out.
Yeah.
But I set 3, like we're recording this will come out I think just as set 3 is out, or maybe just a little after. But as we're recording this, we are chomping at the bit for it, right? Like everyone is so ready for a change in what's going on,
and it's gonna be funny too, because like they're gonna look at and or investigate everything that we say right now, and they're like, "You're totally wrong, Earl and Jonti."
Yeah, I'd love to know how wrong we are.
Yeah, but I personally think that this card is definitely gonna be strong on the next set, because we have a much stronger curve now. With the merfolk going into either Ursula, Flynn, or Bucky, the curve is just much better when it comes to it.
If you want, so I'm currently my sort of go-to deck at the moment for locals is an Emerald Steel. Discard the really leaning into the Floodborne stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't play any actions. It doesn't play Lucifer. It's
Yeah.
just relying on the Bucky and the Prince John, seeing all of the steel.
That's how I like my
mostly
discard
steel
too.
Floodborns, right?
Yeah.
And I had loads of fun with it. But that early curve is really janky because you've got the 2-drop and then shift 2 of Flynn,
Yeah.
or you've got the 2-drop and shift 2 of Jafar.
Yeah.
But you also want to get your Bucky on 2 as well, and then you want to get your Prince on 3. So you kind of sat there holding your Floodborn sometimes until that's online, and so at the moment it's a really squiffy curve.
Yeah.
But then you look at the new Robin Hoods that we get, the 1-drop Robin Hoods and the shift 3 Robin Hood in steel.
Yeah.
Sitting either side of the Bucky, and that's just a nicer curve, and a good card as well, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited. I feel like discard is nearly there, and set 3 is just going to tune it up to where it needs to be, I think.
I think discard on set 2 was Emerald Steel, and I played a lot of it. I had a lot of success with it on my stream and in my LGS. I even created I keep mentioning this because it's like one of my like trophies in Lorcana. I made a Dreamborn .ink deck for it last December, and it was top 2 most famous deck, the discard Floodborn. Awesome. And I played it exactly how you played it. No actions. I ran Smash because Smash is just really good at the meta. There's a lot of like, you can kill Minnie Mouse, you can kill or you can banish Minnie Mouse, or a lot of 3s like Arthur as well. But I like it heavy on Floodborn. But I think on set 3 we're gonna move away from Emerald Steel, and I think the staple will be much more towards Emerald Amber. It's just that we didn't have the cards for Emerald Amber on the early curve as well, but we cannot just forget about Bare Necessities. It's so good.
And let's be honest, if you in a bubble, looking at each card individually, one of the best discard cards in the game is You Have Forgotten Me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't see much play because that's pretty much all Amber had, right?
Yeah.
So you would still lean into Steel because the Floodborn stuff just fits much nicer with the Emerald package that we've got at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, now with the Bare Necessities, and maybe some other stuff. At the time of recording, there's still like 40 cards to be shown, right? So
yeah,
we still could get some more Amber stuff. And also, if you still want to lean into the Floodborn Matters stuff with Bucky, we've got some nice new Amber Floodborn stuff. I think Pluto is fantastic. I think the new Pluto is a great card that comes down early, gets you loads of value, keeps the Bucky, well, you're not really questing with Bucky, but keeps your other stuff alive. The stuff that is going to be questing to get the discards, like the Daisy Duck and stuff. Very playable card, even though it's not a Floodborn.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I think you're right. I think an Emerald Amber package, and that excites me as well because I love a lot of the Amber stuff. I played around a little bit with the Emerald Amber Mufasa, and had fun with it. But I found that its early game was much stronger than its later game. I felt like the Mufasa really gets its value off the big red stuff. It like hitting things like Tremaines and Maleficents and stuff. That's where the value really is.
Yeah.
But the early game, the Queen, the 1-drop Queen and the Shift Queen and Pain and Panic. Like, they are so much fun to play together, and it's real great toolbox. It just felt it sort of fell off in the end of game. So something that uses some of those and the discard stuff, I think there could be a really fun deck there.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting for sure. I am one of the very first, like, I would say, people that experimented with Mufasa when the set came out. I remember people going on my stream and they're like, yeah, Mufasa's a bad card, and I'm like, no, Mufasa's not a bad card. People are just using it with the wrong decks. And as an aggro player, I even have said this. he is a great finisher for aggro. I know he can only quest for 2, but the thing is, like, he's so annoying to deal with that if you kill Mufasa, there's gonna be another body that could possibly quest for 2, quest for 3, because most of the stuff in aggro, that's what you're going to be running. And now there's so many like tools that you can do with that. And Green Fossa showed that to us on one of the big tournaments, right? Like it got to top 8, that it has potential. Just imagine if that Green Fossa had Ursula already and had bare necessities already on it. It's going to be even much stronger.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help out that early game toolkit. I still don't know whether it's got enough consistent bombs to hit off the Mufasa. Yeah. But it's a really fun deck, and I kind of love that. I kind of love that sort of dice roll gameplay anyway as well. You know, that kind of well, let's see what we get off the Mufasa. You know, like it's fun.
It's so fun.
Like yes, we are trying to win these games and stuff, but like it's a game, right? We still should be enjoying ourselves.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said about that Mufasa. It's just even if like the few times I played it in paper, for every Ray I got down that ended up winning the game, I'd hit a new dog or something and be like, like that's how it goes.
Yeah, and then a big dragon comes out of Mufasa. It's a lot of fun. It's like what you said. I want to talk about like more possibilities for set 3. I have a lot of questions to get to know you a little bit more, but that's what I usually do. But we just kind of like dove into it right away.
Oh yeah, sorry. I will. You give me something to talk on, I won't shut up. So, tell me if you need me to stop and we need to.
Oh no. We're gonna do this episode reversed. It's time to experiment. What are you like thinking when it comes to set 3? Other than the existing decks already being upgraded, being updated. What are you thinking? And I asked that because I wanted to share with you right away. One of like decks that I'm thinking of is Pirate Location. Just sounds so fun to me right now.
I don't know how I feel about locations yet. I still don't think. I hope we haven't seen the best of them. At the minute, I think we still have one in every color to see.
Yeah,
and I'm really hoping they're all great. Because like the vanilla ones, I feel like you can just ignore them. The cards that say gets +1 strength or something when it's at a location, I'm pretty sure you can ignore those.
Yeah,
maybe they're draftable. I don't know. But there's definitely some stuff there that I think is the basis of a deck. I think the Jim Hawkins can be pretty good. I think Voyage is quite good. The one-costed action that lets you move 2 things to a location.
I think that's great. Yeah,
I think that's good. What else? Oh, the Jolly Roger, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, that's why I said Pirate Location.
Yeah. I think, and is it Ruby Emerald? Do we think? I don't know. So at the moment, a lot of the good Captain Hooks are Steel.
Ruby Steel for me for sure, because
Ruby Steel.
It's John Silver that's gonna make this happen. Like,
yes, the new John Silver is very good.
Yeah,
yes.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to build this deck. Is like the way I think about it is like I would even run the one cost locations, because the curve that I'm looking at is I'll play John Silver maybe on turn 1 or turn 2. I drop 1, maybe 2 locations. Comes John Silver. Now John Silver has 1 resist, let's say, or 2 resist.
Yeah, so he gets resist 1 and 1 law for every location that's out, right? But so there is something to be said about playing the cheap locations purely for that. Then
yeah. But turn 4. You can drop 4 locations possibly.
Yeah.
And just go at it.
It's awesome. I don't know where all these cards are coming from that you haven't got your opening hands.
Because the thing is, turn 3, like what I said, even if you didn't have locations before, you put down John Silver on turn 3. On turn 4, you could possibly play 2 or 3 locations. And now you can just kill anything you want without John Silver getting hurt or possibly Quest.
The thing I really love about him is that he can be offensive, defensive, or just aggro as well, right? Like the fact that it's the resist and the lore gives you so many options, right? This can swing into something it needs to, or it can just quest and sit back and get value, right? Like that's really quite strong. And the fact that he only has to see the locations, not be at them, because that's the only really thing that's holding me back on locations is the expensive is the tempo loss of moving to them. Having to spend the 2 to sit on them to get the value, which is why I like Jolly Roger, because the pirates are free. And obviously him, because he doesn't even have to be at them, they just need to be on the board, right? So I think you're right. I think, and also I think pirates, we need better pirates. But I think the forceful duelist it's a very playable 1-drop, right? Like, and the Captain Hook 1-drop, great card. I think the Thinking Happy Thoughts, is it the Floodborn?
That's very playable as well.
Like saw some Fringe play in Steel Song. A good sort of 5-costed Singables. Very playable. So that goes in there as well.
I think Starkey can be played now too, because all of those, because the other pirates that we're talking about are captains. He's not only like a pirate that could go in to Jolly Roger, but he also works with captains, and you can even play Moana as well. Moana works with the locations too, and can ready all of those. They can quest. I can imagine a world.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I can imagine a world where the Jolly Rogers would quest while they're in the location, and then the Moana would trigger get all those all those John Silvers again. They quest for like 2 or 3 on that turn, and now they're hitting you with a 3/3 body and possibly a +2/+3 resist.
Resist. It's pretty good. I think a good shift target for Moana would really help. We haven't got one at the moment. There's still space for it, though. I think there's the Mushu D-Summon from Mushu Report does a really great spreadsheet where he fills them in, and I keep going, especially towards the end of the reveal season. I keep going and looking at the gaps and trying to figure out what goes there.
That's what I love about you.
Because you can think of the character names. I think we're getting a Grandma Tala Floodborn. I'll say that now. At time of recording, that's not been revealed, but there's a perfect space for a Grandma Tala, and I'm like, I bet that's a Grandma Tala Floodborn.
I want to use that knowledge of yours when it comes to unraveling the new cards. Is there a chance for Mole to still come out? Because the whole Atlantis crew is here.
I think in Emerald, I'd have to bring it up, but I think in Emerald maybe, and he kind of fits Emerald-y. Maybe Steel.
I don't care what color.
Because
I just really want Mole. He was my favorite.
But I'm trying to think about what he would do and which color that fits into, right? Because he digs and he's a bit dirty. I don't know. It feels emeraldy. And
I just want Mole, because I feel like it's unfair that the whole crew is here and Mole got
and we
left
don't
out.
have. I'm not so great with the names. The Demolitions Expert, we haven't seen him yet.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, the French Demolitions Expert, he could totally be one.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot more, right? We've seen Audrey, Joshua.
Yep.
The Helga and the bad guy.
The big bad dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Actually. Yeah. But there's definitely some space. I actually watched that the other day with my kid. I'm working on his Disney heritage upbringing.
I watched a video of yours where you were like talking about news for reprints, and then
the reprints, my total trolls video.
you was hanging out with your son afterwards and just watching a movie. I'm gonna be and I keep saying this on every episode because I'm really just so freaking excited. I'm gonna be a dad this May. And I can't wait to do that. Like, I can't wait. Thank you. I can't wait to do that. I'm definitely gonna be watching these Disney movies with my daughter, and we're gonna go obviously play some Lorcana. As soon as she can somewhat like understand numbers, does not need to read, because I'll explain what the cards does to her.
And they're good at remembering them as well. So so my boy's 6. And he can we play a lot of board games. Like he's pretty tuned on with them and picks them up pretty quickly. Obviously the language, the sort of reading comprehension is the only thing that's really holding him back. Like he's doing really good with his reading, but it's not quite where he needs to be yet. I can build little 2-card vanilla decks. And we can play Lorcana with those. But I'm just going to hold on a little bit more until I try and sort of push him towards the next level with it. There is that thing coming out this year, right? I can't remember what they called it, like a beginner kit, it's like a 2-player starter kit for Lorcana.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so it was announced at the same time as all of the OP stuff and the store champs stuff, but it kind of got pushed under the rug a little bit because obviously everyone was looking at Rockstar Stitch and what have you. But there's a product coming out, and it's going to be a little bit like Pokemon's Battle Academy.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Yeah.
It's basically sold like that. I think it's going to be like 2 30-card decks, and the idea is they're played against each other to learn the basics, and then you add 10 cards in, and they have these little sort of packets of cards. We don't know exactly how it's going to work, but I imagine it's something like this, like the Battle Academy, where you just keep. So you start with 2 30-card decks with vanillas, and then it'll be, okay, now you're going to add 5 cards with Bodyguard in, and a few cards with Rush, and a few, you know what I mean? And just like build up the mechanics. We're still waiting for the actual Gateway, it's called. There we go. It's called Lorcana Gateway, and it's coming out alongside Set 5.
That's very cool. Yeah, because
that sounds like an announcement to you, doesn't it? Because you missed it at the time. But no, it was.
Yeah,
this is not like secret news. This was all mentioned at the time, but it was also the same time when they mentioned like Worlds in 2025 and those Stitch Rockstar promos. So it totally got set to one side because it's not as as impressive.
The Stitch Rockstar is too bright.
But I'm really excited for that because by the time that comes out, my boy will be 7. Like I say, his reading comprehension is coming on all the time, and I'm hoping that's going to be the thing that gets him up to speed with Lorcana. So I'm excited stuff. But the only thing I will say, watching Disney movies with your kids, go back and watch them first, because I forgot how scary some bits in Atlantis were. And a couple of times I'm looking over at my kid and he's watching this film.
That's cute.
I'm like, oh yeah. Because I remember, I've got some vivid memories of like scary movies as a kid, stuff that I shouldn't have watched when I did.
Yeah.
And to sit and look at him and be like, oh, you're getting one of these core memories right now. I know it. I know this is going to be one of the moments that you think about when you're 20.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I can't believe I watched that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I had that experience actually. So we're kind of getting some practice with my niece already. When we're babysitting my niece, she's 4 years old, and we watch Frozen with her, and she all these years she's been surrounded with love, gentle vibe, because everyone in my wife's family, they're very kind and gentle, and she doesn't know like the harsh side of things, because even though she would get in trouble, no one would yell at her. It's more of the like they always try to like talk to her instead of yelling. I didn't grow up in an environment like that. When I was a kid, I got the slipper,
Yeah, tell me about it.
I got the slipper on my booty, when I misbehave. So she's very she's a stranger to that feeling, and we watch Frozen, and
which is good. Sorry, I should point out before we carry on. That's good.
Yeah, and also
that she's being raised that way.
Yeah, but also like, the world is so harsh that she needs to like learn this like other dark side as well of the world, right? Like eventually, maybe 4 is too early. Yeah, but she was watching Frozen with us, and Elsa got mad in the movie, and she started yelling and getting mad, and we looked at my niece, and she was like, I'm like, oh my god, no, like it's that scaring, and just like how's this scaring me, and I didn't think about that at all. Like while we were watching it, up until I saw my niece, and I'm like, okay. We gotta probably stop the movie for now, because we can't traumatize it.
Being
Yeah,
core memory getting unlocked right here.
yeah. So what we do now is like we try to like what you said, we try to watch stuff with her, and if we think that that's gonna be a little too harsh, we would like either skip it, or we would look at her mood before she gets into the emotional state when it's just about to start, and then we ask like, okay, how are you feeling about this? Do you want to keep watching this? We can skip this if you want. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I had that recent experience a few months ago with her.
Something like you say, you just kind of forget about it, because I mean, I can't imagine there's a Disney. Well, there's definitely not a Disney movie I haven't seen. Like, I know for a fact that I've seen everything.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, it might be 15, 20 years since I last saw it, right? So
Yeah.
It's difficult sometimes to remember it, and you put it on, you sit there, and something relatively like Atlantis especially is quite dark for a Disney movie.
Yeah.
It's quite scary in some parts and stuff. And sitting there watching it, going, "Oh yeah, I forgot about this bit. This is pretty grim."
I gotta confess, I started watching what do you call this? Old movies and shows that I started that I used to watch as a kid when I started playing Lorcana again, because I actually forgot some of the characters and some of the names. I knew what they look like, but I didn't know their names, or the other way around. So I started watching it, and some of the movies actually my wife has never watched as well. So it's been a lot of fun, and rewatching Treasure Planet, it felt like I was watching a new movie again. And
100%. Basil was one of the ones that I'd probably not seen for 15 years, maybe at least. And then because it was so prevalent in set 2, I was like, I need to go back and brush up on this. And I could remember very little of it. It was kind of awesome, really, because like you say, it felt like you're watching a whole new movie again.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's really great.
And there's some things that you didn't understand then that you understand now when you watch, and I thought that's always a pretty cool experience. Yeah. So aside from the pirate, we're kind of just vibing off each other right now, and we're just like kind of like just having a conversation. And we started with the pirate deck, and then we got into these movies. What other deck do you think is gonna pop out?
I mean, honestly, those kind of typal decks are probably the only ones that are really new. Other than, like, there could just be a location good stuff deck that isn't necessarily tied to any kind of mechanic other than it's all the good stuff that cares about locations and all the good locations.
Yeah.
I always thought that was going to be a thing, and I guess it was probably Ruby Emeralds. Just because we saw that Jim Hawkins quite early. I think out of all of the locations we've seen, Fang was one of the only ones that really kind of made me think, well, that's maybe kind of good. The Shenzi from Lion King is maybe okay, but I feel like I'm just trying to make it a thing, and I'm not sure it is. I don't think the power level's there. It could be a fun casual deck, but I kind of assumed in the same way that we have an item deck. Like, there's a lot of decks that will run an item or two, but really currently Sapphire Steel probably item deck. I think that's probably going to shift to Sapphire Amethyst with the Magicka stuff that we got.
Yeah.
But there's an item deck, and there is an action deck that isn't really a thing, but the game wants you to build an action deck in Ruby Emerald as well. Like the Artful Rogue that exerts stuff, or
Facilier's cards.
Faciliers, the do it agains and the all of that. Like there's the core of it there. I just don't think it's particularly strong.
Yeah.
But in the same way, there's clearly the game clearly wants an action deck, and then there are stuff that also plays a few actions. And I think that's probably, if locations end up being a thing, I think that's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Most decks maybe run one that's just good for what they're trying to do, but then there's also a location deck in a certain color pair that just really cares about them, you know?
Yeah.
Like Steel Song is another example. There's a lot of decks that will run a song or two,
Yep.
but, you know, Steel Song just cares about songs more. And I
Songs,
feel that's
yeah.
probably what we're going to see.
Yeah.
There will be a deck that just cares about locations more.
Yeah.
Whether it's any good, I don't know.
Amber has a pretty good location itself, so that's another thing that we can consider. And I think too that this next 35-40 cards that we're gonna see are gonna be the juiciest of the juiciest cards.
They better be.
Yeah, because the way it felt like when they were like releasing and revealing all these cards is that the first, like, I would say 100 cards, or maybe 80 to 100 cards, was stale. There's a few cards that was good, but there's a lot of cards that's just like, okay, what is this? It's so plain. This location, is this gonna be really location? It's a 1 mana cost, you know, with the 4 HP. That's gonna get killed by a fox, you know, on turn 3. And after that, they started releasing all these other cards, and it's just like, I'm just like, okay, now we're getting into the serious part. We're seeing a lot of potential.
I definitely think this week we've seen a lot of the sort of meat of the set, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the stuff that's really exciting people isn't really location focused.
Yeah.
But then thinking about it, for the second set, you know, Rise of the Floodborn, a lot more Floodborns in it than there were in set 1. You know, a lot of the big parts of that set, the stuff that's actually saw play and saw decks develop around him, aren't really the Floodborn characters. You know, like going back to this discard, the Emerald Steel Floodborn. You know, it's running Giant Tink. It's running the Jafars because they fit well and they're cheap, but honestly, they could probably come out for those Robin Hoods in the next set. Yeah. It runs Tragic Hero, but you're not playing Tragic Hero because it's a Floodborn. Yeah. You're playing Tragic Hero because it's a good card.
Yeah.
It currently doesn't really have a target. You know, we're getting Morph in set 3, which is probably the only thing it can shift onto. So so the Floodborns of the Floodborn set weren't necessarily the most impactful cards in the set.
Yeah.
That's arguably the bounce package in Amethyst. So we maybe not necessarily should expect the location cards to be the most impactful things in the location set.
This is more of an introduction to it.
Yeah, and that's it. And this is something that they want to stick around. It's not, you know, this isn't it's not like we're going to get no locations in set 4.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the game is built to be characters, items, locations, actions. Yeah, and then the subcategory of songs. For now, at least, I think that's the core of the game. Yeah. I'm more than happy for more card types. I think it needs to not be for a little while, though.
Yeah.
I think new card types every set is where Magic is right now, and it's not a healthy place to be because they always just feel like flavor of the month. You play them for a couple of months, the next set doesn't even reference them again, and it's, you know, you just constantly feel like you're spinning that wheel. So I hope with Lorcana that locations were a core mechanic that they just sort of held back a little bit so that people got comfortable with the game. Don't get me wrong, in 2 or 3 years, give me curses. Give me, you know, there's all sorts of stuff you can do like that will thematically fit into Disney, but then also could be an interesting new card type. I would be very surprised if we ever see straight up off-turn interaction. I'd be very surprised if we just get cards that you can play on an opponent's turn. I feel like that's such a big shift away from the core of the game. I'd be and the core accessibility of the game. That's obviously very important to Ravensburger. Yeah. So I'd be surprised if we ever see something like that. I could maybe see something that's closer to like a Yu-Gi-Oh's Trap, in that it's, you know, it's something that you telegraph by placing down, and then a certain condition activates it, or something like that. You know, I could maybe see something like that coming in at some point. Yeah. But I'd be very surprised if we ever got Counterspell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could happen, but not anytime soon, because there's so many mechanics that's been introduced to us. There's so many like decks that's been introduced to us, and they're not quite there yet. I think some of it, like what we previously talked about. We talked about discard, and we talked about item decks. Those decks are alive, but they're not the best. Heal deck as well is being played, but it's not there yet. So,
yeah, Amber Sapphire, I think, heals.
Yeah.
You know, you like individually you look at cards in that deck and you think, well, this is just value, right? Like you look at like Grandpappy, you just think, wow, this is just value. But just in practice, it's just as if it's too slow or just too fragile. It just doesn't quite get there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, actions matter isn't there yet. There's a lot of the beginnings of Typal decks. This set's bringing in Titans. You know, there's a Titan Typal thing there with that Hades and the few Titans we've seen. There's Pirates is obviously the one that's got the most support this set. I'm trying to think what else there is really. Yeah. I think villains could be a thing.
Yeah. Villains.
I genuinely think on it, just that one Queen of Hearts in Amber, it was enough to make me go back and look at villains again.
Yeah,
because I already enjoyed the package and I love the King of Olympus Hades, you know. But like that was it. That was like the only card that even cared about villains.
Yeah.
So just that Queen coming in is enough for me to look at that again and go, well, maybe.
Yeah, we have Amber Ruby is definitely going to be a villain stack. I was talking to Lorcana villain. I don't want to spoil too much because that episode is not out yet. But actually, spoilers.
This is out.
It would be out. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. It would be out already.
You're only spoiling it for me.
Yeah, I'm only spoiling it for you. But we were talking about villains deck already because they're I know you mentioned about Hades, but they're now. We have the new queen that came out, and we also have cards like it's not World's Greatest Criminal Mind. It's a 3 mana as well that you banish your villain and then you can banish something else. I forgot what it's called.
What's it called? It's from Basil, which is why you're thinking World's Greatest Criminal Mind.
Yeah, I gotta see it right now. I have the cards right next to me right now, and it's gonna be a super look here because I can't get this out of my mind if we don't see it. It's all right. So it was a 3 mana, right? It's the most diabolical scheme.
Most diabolical scheme. That's the one. Yeah.
So we have a removal for it too.
To get a villain. Yeah. I mean, I could see a Ruby Amber build. I can also see an Amber Amethyst build. Just because of how strong the bounce stuff is, and how strong the card draw is, and how both of those are also villains. Like you kind of forget about it because it doesn't matter. But all the Maleficents, all of the Madam Mims, you know. There's even that. I think that Chernobog is a bit of a meme. The big. Say again, sorry?
Isma? I was going to say Isma as well as a villain.
Some of the sorcerer stuff happening there. I think that Chernobog is a bit of a meme. I don't actually necessarily think he's going to be incredible. But even just him and the little, they're not villains, but the little minions, the Chernobog's minions that just sort of, you can banish them for card draw and stuff. Like it's just a flavor win, you know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know whether it's actually very good, but no, I can see an Amber Amethyst deck that's just the good stuff of Amethyst that happens to be villains, and then the Amber package that cares about villains. I actually think that's quite good.
I think the Chernobog is going to be a splash, if anything. You do not run four of it.
It's a fun little. 2 of that you just top out with. I think it goes really quite nicely into the Mufasa deck, to be honest. I think you'll happily throw one of them down for free off the back of a Mufasa. And also, if you do trigger it off the Mufasa, it puts the Mufasa back in your deck, which is kind of nice as well. Like, I think that's kind of fun.
I mean, just like imagining it right now, you trigger it from Mufasa, like what you said, but also playing Be Prepared, killing your Mufasa, getting maybe a different card for now, and now you have all these. You have all these discarded characters in the well, and you have Chernobog already for your next play. So
the only thing I don't think he's going to be super impactful, just because he doesn't really do anything when he comes out. That's the thing. Yeah. Like if you think about all of the cards that are really the impactful top end of any deck, really. Yeah. You know, it's all like in Sapphire, it's Hades. Comes down and inks something. In Emerald, it's something like Genie on the Job comes down and bounces something.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ruby's the poster boy for this. You know, it's Tremaines and Maleficents. They all hit the board and affect the board.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only thing with that Chernobog is, yes, he's flashy, and yes, you can cheat him out, and yes, he shuffles. But when it really boils down to it, he's a vanilla, really. Like, he just kind of sits there and is a big body.
Yep.
And that's the only reason why I don't know necessarily like he's a total build around.
No,
the only other one I
he's
can
a
think
splash
of
at
that
best.
I think is worth noting is Puppies. And when I say Puppies, I don't necessarily mean running 99 copies of the of the puppy, but just all that sort of puppy synergy. Yes, it's basically an aggro deck, but all of the 2-drops, Rockstar Stitch, the Lucky. I think Perdita. I'm hoping Perdita's good. We haven't seen her yet.
Yeah.
But I think she's legendary. I think she's the second Amber legendary. And I think she's going to have a big payoff for Puppies. I think it's going to be all Puppies quest for one more, or she quests for one for each puppy you've got out, or something like that. That's what I'm kind of hoping for.
There's 2 puppy cards already that I actually am planning to run on my aggro decks, and one of them was I believe it's called Lucky.
Lucky's great. Yeah, that's the forecasted unkable.
And there's an action on turn 5 as well with the puppies on it.
99 puppies.
It's 99 puppies. I think that's pretty good with aggro decks.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that's one of those. So we had pack tactics in set 2 that didn't really end up seeing any play. Similar kind of card. I think 99 Puppies is possibly a bit better than that, because you get a lot more control over what's happening on your side of the board than on your opponent's side of the board, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's 99 Puppies. That's one of those ones where it's just a win out of nowhere, right? Like maybe it's a win more card, but like there's no reason why you couldn't just play that and be like, oh yes, the 5 lore you accounted for is actually 10. you know, like it's just be very difficult to cope with.
Maybe run 2 or 3 of them. Like what I said, like the thing about like aggro is it can afford to run a 4 mana, 5 mana, sometimes even 6 ink cost as your finisher, and you can have these like greedy cards that you can run
because everything else in the deck is 2. So you can get it. You can have a very low, really low to the ground curve, and then these big flashy plays to finish off with. So I think Puppies, like I say, I don't literally mean Puppies, but just that sort of really just honest to goodness, I'm going to put things down and quest with them. That kind of deck I think really comes back into play, especially with the things like bare necessities and stuff that's just going to get rid of the things that are really going to upset them, like grab your swords and be prepared.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. What do you call this? We got into this conversation and we just kind of went off, and it felt like we've been talking for 20 minutes, but we've been talking for an hour now, and usually I try not to take that much of the guests' time. So I want to keep talking about this, but let's be honest with each other. We can sit here for 5 hours and keep talking about this and still not be
very
done.
easily. I'll be honest with you. I'm just going to drop the plug right now. I do a Monday night live stream with B Squared, who you've also had on as a guest here. And at time of recording, that's happening in about 25 minutes. So I can't hang around too much later, because I'm gonna be moving over to that live stream in a moment.
Okay. So before I let you go, I do this really quick. There's 2 10-second segments that we'll do really quick, and then we will be done. I was supposed to do this in the beginning, but or somewhere in the middle. But this time we'll do it at the end. We're gonna do the banned card segment. So you have 10 seconds to answer each question. So there's 6 questions because there's 6 inks. I will mention an ink, and you have 10 seconds to pick a card from that ink, any card that you want. What do you think should be banned? If they're not even for any reasons at all, just for the ban reason, it's not for tournaments, it's not for anything. So 10 seconds, Amber, go.
Amber card that needs banning. The Lilo one drop, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think anything needs banning. But if I had to pick
Everyone
something, it's
loves
that.
Amber. No one wants to ban anything in Amber. They have pretty fair cards, honestly.
Yeah.
Amethyst. 10 seconds ago.
Take your pick. Goat, I guess. I think Goat's probably going to be the most problematic thing.
Yeah.
Goat's going to be one of those ones that is always going to be on people's radar.
Yeah.
And will probably get broken.
Such a big body that you can gain so much from it.
Anything that just gives you that lore instantly. The second they bring something that just bounce stuff even better than Mims, the Goat's even more broken.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Number 3, Emerald. Go.
Lucifer,
yes.
It's kind of gross.
yeah. 10 seconds, Ruby, go.
Man, see, I think Be Prepared is. I know a lot of people talk about Be Prepared, but Be Prepared is needed. A board wipe is needed in the game because otherwise aggro just runs away.
And it also hurts you, which is really fair.
Yeah, exactly. I love Lady Tremaine, but I guess she's can be a bit gross.
Yeah, I do agree, especially with bounce package. She can be really too good, and it's shiftable as well. Sapphire, go.
I don't care about Sapphire at all. What Eye of the Fates? Because again, anything that gives you instant lore gain can be a problem in the future. I'm not saying it is now.
Yeah.
But anything that, especially with like we said, a game that doesn't have off-turn interaction, lore that happens the turn it's played can get broken.
Yes, I do agree. Last one is Steel. 10 seconds.
Oh man, I love all of Steel. What's bad in Steel? What's gross in Steel? Something with like a huge resist thing, I guess. Because like Big Tink is just too good. You can't ban Big Tink. Something with loads of resist. Cinderella Stout-Hearted. I don't know. I don't want to ban any of these cards.
Not even a whole new world.
No. You know what? I don't play Whole New World. I've never had a Whole New World played on me, and the worst reaction I've ever had is, okay. Like cool. I'm drawing cards. Cool. It's the best thing you can do in a game.
Yeah, it's when Yeah, go ahead.
The problem is it's one of those things that can get broken. Wheels in card games are usually banned. Anything that sort of empties your hand and refills it is usually banned, but not because of that card. It's because of something else that breaks that card.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a fair point. Whole New World is definitely on the watch list, I guess.
Yeah.
But as in of itself, I don't think it's a huge problem.
All right, this is the last part of the thing. We have another 10-second segment. We'll do the favorite card one. 10 seconds to.
It's probably going to be the same 6. I just said the banning.
Oh no! It's not going to be the ink. So there's 5 questions on this. The first one is your favorite character to play.
Oh, okay. As in for the actual character, not for their ability.
To play.
Oh, just the play. Oh, Big Tink.
Big Tink. Okay.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I do agree. I love Big Tink. I want the Enchanteds for it. Number 2, favorite character art, not including Enchanteds.
Okay, favorite character art. That's great. Honey Wizard's too obvious. What else is really good? Like it might be Big Tink, actually. I really do like the art for Big Tink.
Yeah. I agree with that too. Honestly, they did Big Tink so well.
Just remember that was the first card that was revealed that made me actually go, oh my god, just realize the scope of the game, both mechanically and artistically.
Yeah.
Big Tink was the first one that really made me go, oh my god, this is a thing.
I want the Enchanted so bad, which is going to be our next question. Your favorite Enchanted. 10 seconds.
I know it's 10 seconds. I'm going to see if I can grab.
All right, we're getting an ultra megatonic spicy thing here.
Favorite Enchanted. Stitch Surfer.
Nice. Do you think that I usually don't let people pick the Stitch that you can win, but do you think that Stitch you would like better than the Rockstar one?
I would like both. I really love the Surfer art, but obviously the one you can win comes with the fact that
Yeah.
that I've accomplished,
hard
something,
earned.
not just pulled it out of a pack, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4, favorite song. It doesn't matter if you like to play it or you just love the art or you just love the song in general. Favorite song card.
My favorite. Does it have to be a song in the game? Because my favorite Disney song is called "Proud of Your Boy," and it was a song from Aladdin that was cut from the movie.
Okay.
But it's incredible.
It has to be a card. It has to be a card.
Favorite song in the game in a card is oh man, it's so tough. Part of Your World.
Part of Your World. Okay.
Yeah, not because of the mechanics, just it's one of the best Disney songs ever written. Alan Menken is a god.
Yeah, and the art as well. It looks good in my opinion. I like the art.
No, actually, do you know what? The Part of the World art weirds me out because I'm not quite sure what it's meant to be. Because she sings that song in the grotto, you know, where she's looking at her stuff. But the art is like her with a dress, but then there's fish around her for some reason. Like I don't really get the art on the card.
Now I have to look at the art.
Disney songs goes
and examine this really quick. Give me 1 second here. I have to examine this. I guess she just wants to be a part of the world, you know.
Where are the fish? Like, is the camera like inside a fish tank and we're looking out, or what? Like,
yeah, that's true. I don't know, but maybe that's why I like it. It's just very magical.
It's pretty and bright and stuff. But yeah, but do you think? But how iconic is that scene where she's coming up out of the grotto in the moonlight, singing "Part of Your World"? I'm gonna break out in song in a minute. If I'm not
Part
careful.
of your world.
Like, how iconic is that? Like, the art for that card should be her just sort of coming up. But,
you know what's funny is there's 2 type of Lorcana players when it comes to the card art. There are the ones that, like what you said, you love the iconic scene. It's very nostalgic to look at. It gives you a great vibe. And there's also other players or Disney Lorcana collectors that likes it to be not just one of the scenes and it's actual
it's just
own
what
art.
The movie looks like. And to be fair, I think the game's done really clever with the whole Dreamborn and Floodborn thing, so that it's not just scenes from the movie. You know, like they can go forever with this stuff, right? Because of that, purely because of that mechanic, the Dreamborn and Floodborn stuff. Means they'll run forever and ever and ever. But yeah, still, there's something iconic about the OG.
I agree. The last question is your favorite item card.
Oof, that's good. I don't really play items much. I don't think I play a single item. So
it can be art. It can be something you like to play.
On art or how cool it is. I know I said Eye of the Fates is a problem, but that's probably the only one that I actually played a bit in my deck.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan of Hercules, so yeah, Eye of the Fates, I guess, is cool.
All right. Well, thank you very much for answering this. We got to know a little bit more about you. I usually ask a little more question getting to know you. But like what I said, we just kind of hop on the conversation of being so excited for set 3.
I'll go all day. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, don't be sorry. That's exactly the reason why we got you here. Well, to get to know you, of course, but also to talk about Lorcana. It's just honestly, it's just 2 people who loves Lorcana, and that is why 100%. We get into this, and that is the type of viewers that's most likely going to be watching this is people who love Lorcana too, and listen to a couple of people who spends, more time than the regular person should.
At the minute, especially during this is being recorded right in the middle of the end of the spoiler season. Yeah, and I dream about Lorcana cards at the moment. Like it's just nonstop. So. I won't lie, I'm kind of looking forward to a couple of days break once these last few reveals are out before the set launches itself. I'm going to sort of maybe de-Lorcanify a little.
Yeah.
and then once we get hands on actual cards, we're right back into it again, figuring out the new meta, right? So.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun cycle. It's for Christmas every year now, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Well, I know you have to go. You said you're going to be doing some, what do you call call this content with B Squared, right?
Yes, yeah. So I make content on YouTube on a channel called the Inkwell, but then every Monday night, me and B Squared, Brandon, we have a show called This Week in Ink. It's late for you. I mean, it's got to be late there now, right?
It's 2 o'clock
UK,
in the morning.
Yeah, so I don't expect you to be there because we go until midnight here, which is like 5 in the morning for you. Obviously, as you can tell from the accent, I'm originally from the UK, so I'm very aware of what time it is there all the time because I'm speaking to family and what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's late for you, but anyone else who's on the sort of western side of the world, if you fancy joining us, it's at 9:30 Eastern every Monday night.
Do you also record this?
Yes. It goes up afterwards. It goes up onto YouTube afterwards. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll tell Brandon I said hi. I don't know if our audience remember. Brandon was our episode 3 for
3, was it? Yeah, I know he was one of the early ones.
Well, technically episode 2, but we counted me as episode 1 as introduction.
Because I remember, because I've been keeping up with them. I remember it was Jared and then Brandon, right?
Well, thank you again. I just want to say to the viewers that are watching right now, make sure you go to the description. That's where all the links for Jonti and the Inkwell is gonna be. If there's any other links that you want to share with me, Jonti, I'll be putting it down there from the YouTube channel to the Twitter to anything that you want to share with
that's pretty
everyone.
Much it, honestly. Yeah, videos are on YouTube. My wafflings are on Twitter. That's it.
Yeah. So make sure to click that link. And hit that follow, subscribe, all those stuff. Give him some love and support. Really, really awesome dude. I love his fun content in YouTube, and also here and there we talk in Twitter through comments.
We're on Twitter a lot. You can tell we're on Twitter a lot because we still call it Twitter.
Yeah,
and not X. That's how you know somebody's on Twitter a lot.
I'm never gonna call it X. It's just so weird. No. It's just so weird. Right. It's like, hey, did you see my X last night? It's just like, what?
Yeah, what is one X? Have you just X'd? Or I've just X'd all over the place. I don't know.
I had 4X last night, and I'm telling your wife. But thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to tell our audience before?
No, I just enjoy the game, have fun with it, engage in it however you see fit. That's the big thing, I think, because a lot of the stuff on YouTube is a little bit more competitive focused. Because usually that's the sort of early audience of a game, right? It's the hardcore folks who get into it. Yeah. But you playing it at a tournament, you're playing it on the kitchen table with your kids. Like, the game is spread for everybody. It casts a very wide net. Yeah. Just dig it and enjoy yourselves with it. Have fun with it. Remember, it's a game, and you'll have a blast.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree with that. It could be very intimidating in the beginning of games in general because a lot of the creators or the people that just uploads or talk about stuff online, they're super, super competitive. And I promise you that there is a big space for even if you're not a competitor, even if you just, like what you said, even if you just want to play on the other room with your kids or with your friends or your partner, there's a lot of that fun content. And Jonti right here is one of the people that makes those type of contents to enjoy. So make sure to check that out. Other than that, thank you guys for checking out another episode of the Loremeisters podcast, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care, everyone. Peace.